What's up, noobs? Welcome back to another Emerald Academy challenge. In today's video, we're going to be going over a non-fungible token example. So if you're not familiar with Emerald Academy challenges, basically they're ways of working through dApps and sort of getting a grasp for what, dApp development looks like on the Flow blockchain. And because we provide all the source code for you, after the challenge or during the challenge, we're going to walk through some code to show you how this stuff is done. So right now I'm at academy.ecdao.org, and if you click on challenges, go to non-fungible token. We're here. If you haven't seen challenge 0 yet, it's probably best to start there, but let's go ahead and do this one, all right? So let's do it. By the way, if you're watching this video and this website looks a little different, like the Emerald Academy website, that's totally fine. It's because we're actually currently revamping the whole site right now, but it's still the same challenge. So even if this looks different, it's still the same thing if you're seeing this in the future. Okay. So today we're going to deploy our own NFT contract to learn the basics of the Flow blockchain and Cadence, basically dApp development. In order to do that, we're going to be using the local flow emulator, which is basically like our own local blockchain on our computer that we're going to be using to, run our own blockchain. Like it's almost like a testing environment. We're going to be using a local flow dev wallet. That's like a wallet that's going to be, we're going to use on our computer. If you've heard of like Hard Hat on a Ethereum, it's sort of similar, but like our local flow dev wallet for our testing purposes. And we're going to be using Next.js for our front end development. Okay, so the final deliverable is going to be basically a dApp that lets users create an empty collection, mint some NFTs, and transfer them to each other. All right, and if you want to meet other people that are doing these challenges, you can go to the Emerald City Discord, which is right here. I'll put this on the screen. So go here, and if you have any questions, you can always ask in the Emerald Academy section of our Discord in the chat channel. Okay, so that just wanted to point that out. All right, so checkpoint number 0, you need Git. I already have Git. You also need Node, and you can verify all these things. Let me actually quickly open up a PowerShell for you. You're going to notice throughout this video, by the way, that I am not a Windows user. I'm definitely a Mac user, but I'm using Windows today, so I might be struggling. But let's try it anyway. So if you have Node, do node-v. I'm using v16.16. All right, but make sure to install that. If you have Node 17, it should be fine. But if it causes errors, maybe go back to version 16. And then, of course, the Flow CLI. So if you don't already have the Flow CLI, if you're on Mac, then copy and paste this line right here. If you're on Linux, copy this line. And if you're on Windows, copy this line. And then go to a terminal and paste it. I already have it, so I'm not going to run it again. But once you run that and you type flow version, it should give you a version. I'm using 39.1, which is the most recent one for me. Okay, so that's all good. Now, once you have those, we're going to git clone our project. Now, this is why we need Git. So I'm actually going to go into Documents, Emerald Academy Challenges, and paste this line right there. What this is actually going to do, let me clear everything, is it's going to bring the source code onto our computer. So if you're not familiar with GitHub, basically it's a place where you can store code. And so for this challenge, we have stored all of our code inside the Emerald DAO like organization. In the one non-fungible token repo, it's called. So all the source code is here. You can even follow along in the README if you want right here. But of course, I'm following along from the website because I think it looks prettier. And so when you get clone onto your own computer, it's basically like bringing the code onto your own computer. All right. So now we're inside the correct project. I'm going to clear. I'm going to follow the steps below. So in a terminal window, install the dependencies and run your front end. So we already CD'd into our project, right? We're inside of our project, and we're going to run npm install. So npm install, just like that. And once we run this, hopefully, yeah, this will go through. Nice, it shouldn't take too long. Then we're going to run npm run dev. So if we run npm run dev, what this is going to do is actually launch this project in a browser so that we can actually view the code that's already there. And then we're actually going to maybe wait for, actually, you know what, while we're waiting for this, let me open up another one. See into Documents, Emerald Academy Challenges, one non-fungible token, zoom in a little bit. So open up another terminal window. I'm going to do that right here and resize this appropriately. Is this done yet? Okay, it's not. It's still going. So in a second terminal window, what we're going to do is we're going to run flow emulator start -v. So let's run that in the second window. What this is going to do is start the local Flow emulator on our computer. So now we have a Flow blockchain basically running on our own computer, which is super cool. So that we can run transactions, which are things that like mutate the blockchain, and scripts, which are things that read from the blockchain, but again, all on our own local blockchain, okay? So I guess this is still going, unless I'm being an idiot. Oh no, okay, I'm sorry, I was being an idiot. So if we actually go to localhost 3000 on our web browser, this is the app that's running because of this first one that we launched right here. So you can see it has the title, it's saying the address, please connect your wallet, and there's nothing here. If we click connect right now, nothing's going to happen. Now that's because we're not running a local version of a wallet yet, right? We're not using Blockdo or Lilyco or Dapper Wallet because that's all on mainnet and testnet. This is on a local blockchain, so we need our own wallet. So in order to do that, we have to launch yet another terminal. So let's launch a third terminal here. Let me zoom in a bit. All right, let me bring this down. Okay, again, I'm not a Windows user, so don't judge. But let's go into Documents, Emerald Academy, and then one non-fungible token. And in this one, I'm going to run Flow Project Deploy. Now, this is going to deploy our contracts to our local blockchain. Now, again, oh no. Oh no. Okay, so I believe I might have an error in here actually. Let me see if I can live fix this so I don't have to re-record this video. Let's see if I can fix this. All right. So flow cadence utility. It is saying that there cannot be found. Oh, import metadata views could not be found from fungible token. Oh. It's because I forgot to fix this. So, okay, so when you do this tutorial, you're not going to run into that bug. So don't worry about this, okay? When you do this tutorial, don't worry about this part. I just had to fix that. Hopefully, if I do this again, it'll work. Let's see. Right now it's deploying the contracts. Now, remember, run this flow product deploy step after you do the emulator step, okay? So make sure to do it afterwards because we're deploying it to our local emulator, okay? Now, this is taking quite a while. I don't know why it's doing this. Maybe the last version of Flow like broke this, which would be so annoying. Why is that taking so long? I don't know. Let me try and restart our emulator here. See if this fixes it. Let's restart the emulator. Let's redeploy. Okay, so I guess we just did restart the emulator. So hopefully when you do this, you shouldn't run into any of those errors, but because I'll have fixed it by that point. So yeah, there you go. You deploy your contracts just like that. Now our contracts are deployed. So the next step is to run our local Flow dev wallet. So let's run Flow dev wallet. And this runs our dev wallet. So if we go back to our application, refresh the page, and click connect, now it comes up with a local dev wallet for us, and we can log in with the service account. Now the address is up here. This is who we're logged in with, and we can go along with the rest of the tutorial. So down here, it says checkpoint 1, we'll be using the local Flow dev wallet. Click the login button and notice a window appears with different accounts. We've already done that, right? So we already logged into this account. And if we wanted to, we could log out, log back into an account just like that. Yeah, so that's all good. So checkpoint number 2, see your NFTs. So after logging into your account with this address, click the Get NFTs button. Now, what's going to happen? Well, if we click Get NFTs, we're going to get an error, right? And the reason for that is because on the Flow blockchain, an account can't store NFTs unless you set it up with a collection to store those NFTs, right? It's almost like if you don't have a basket, you can't hold, whatever you would put in that basket, right? So that was a terrible analogy. I don't know why the heck I just said that. What? But you sort of get the point, I guess. You need a collection to store NFTs, okay? I don't know what is going on. I'm hungry. Okay, so we need to actually set up the account. So to do that, what we can do is we can refresh the page and click Set Up Account, and this is going to run a transaction to set up our account, or in my trash analogy, give us that basket so we can store our eggs, I don't know, or NFTs. Who knows at this point? Just get me out. So if I click so this is running from the service account. These are the proposer, the payer, and the authorizer. You can see all just random blockchain stuff. I don't know if you're curious about it, the gas limit, right? All this cool stuff. And then this is the cadence code that's being run in the background. So this is the cadence code that's giving us our collection. So if I click approve here, and then click Get NFTs, all of a sudden we get no error, but there's no NFTs being displayed because we haven't minted any NFTs yet, right? So there's no NFTs yet. We can click this all we want. There's nothing, but it's not giving us the error anymore because we actually have a collection. It's just we have nothing in it. All right. Boom. So yeah, so no NFTs appear. Let's mint some NFTs. So checkpoint number 3 is to mint some NFTs. So now that we have set up user's account, we can mint some NFTs. So let's open up yet another terminal. Wow, I love terminals, huh? So if I go like this, do some fancy Windows stuff, I can't wait to get back on my Mac. I can do CD, Documents, Emerald Academy, 1 non-fungible token. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this command. npm run mint this address. So I'm going to run that. Boom. And it's going to do some fancy stuff and then say, okay, transaction ID this. This is the transaction ID that was used in order to that was produced after we send the transaction. Now, if you're curious, by the way, I forgot to sort of like explain to you what all this stuff is doing. If you're curious, what's actually minting is if you go into actions and then mint nfts.js, this is the function that's minting the NFTs. So you can see that when we run npm run mint, it's calling this function or this file. It's calling the mint NFTs function and passing in process.argv.slice, all this fancy stuff. This right here that I'm highlighting is actually just the argument we supplied. So it's this address right here, okay? So it's passing in that address, and then that's the recipient that gets passed in right here. We have 3 names for our NFTs, some descriptions and thumbnails that I already uploaded to IPFS for you. And then this is where all the fancy stuff is happening. This is the blockchain stuff. So we're using await fcl.mutate. So that's where we're importing or we're requiring @onflow/fcl. That's a dependency called the Flow client library that we're using to interact with our local blockchain. And we will be using to interact with testnet in a second here. But fcl.mutate, that calls a transaction. This is the cadence code that we're using, right? The actual like cadence code that we're using to mint the NFTs. We're supplying the arguments like the names, the descriptions, the thumbnails, and then the recipient, right? Who the recipient is, doing some fancy proposer, payer, authorizer stuff. This is just so allowing us to like send the transaction on behalf of like the account that we have the private key for, which is the service account, and then it produces the transaction ID. So that's what just happened. And so if we go back to our web page, click Get NFTs, all of a sudden there's NFTs being displayed on the web page because we just minted them. All right, so pretty awesome stuff. And by the way, if you're also curious about how we set up the collection or get the NFTs, you can go to pages index.js and you'll see that right here. So this is you'll see there's 2 functions. Well, there's 3 functions actually. Get NFTs. This is a script. We're using fcl.query instead of fcl.mutate. We're using fcl.query to send a script that reads from the blockchain. This is the cadence code. And then the arguments we pass in. This is the setup collection. So the cadence code, fcl.mutate, because it's a transaction, it's mutating the blockchain, the proposer, payer, authorizer. If you have any questions about those 3, I would highly encourage you to ask in the Emerald City Discord, in the Emerald Academy chat I showed you at the beginning of this video. Definitely check that out. I don't want to explain that for too much in this video, but yeah, check that out. And also, if you're curious about cadence development and you want to learn more about cadence, definitely go to Emerald Academy and check out our boot camps, our cadence boot camps. Those are really awesome. And again, the site might look different when you see this, but anyways, moving on. Okay, so there's a typo here. This will int 3 NFTs. I have to change that to mint, so I got to fix that. But it mints 3 NFTs to this address that we supplied, right? And that's great. Now we see our NFTs. So checkpoint number 4 is set up empty user collection. This should also be like, is this the same thing? Okay, yeah. So we're going to set up another account. So the way to do that is, what we want to do is log out and log into another account. So let's create a new account, call this Jacob. I don't know. Let's just call this Jacob. Create it. And so now there's a new account called Jacob. But you'll see if I try to get NFTs from Jacob, we get the same error again that we got before. And the reason for that, as you know now, is because we have to set it up first. So let's set it up. And now we can get NFTs and there's no error. But, we want to get an NFT to this account somehow. Now, we could mint to it, but let's actually do something more interesting and let's transfer to it. So if we go to the checkpoint number 5 and transfer an NFT, let's actually copy and paste this address. Let's copy this address, log out, connect, log into the service account, get the NFTs. So we have the NFTs here. And let's transfer the governance one to this address. So if we click transfer, approve, Get NFTs again, it's gone. Where to go? Well, if we log out, log back in to account Jacob, get NFTs, it's right here. So we transferred the NFT to this other account. And again, if you want to see the transaction for that, you can go to this transfer NFT function in the index.js file under the pages folder, and you can see the cadence code right here. There's two arguments, the recipient and which NFT we want to withdraw, and then this fancy stuff. And down here, you can see all the HTML and stuff like that. But this is the important part, right? The blockchain stuff. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's actually deploy all this code to testnet. So what we're gonna, the reason for this is because right now this is all like on our local computer, and so it's a bit like boring because only we can interact with it. But if we put it on testnet, then anyone can interact with it, and that's the cool part, right? And if we wanted to, we could even deploy this whole DApp to like Vercel, right? And then anyone could go to a website and yeah, so they can mint NFTs, stuff like that. I keep looking at the side here because it's also my birthday right now, and I keep getting birthday texts. Man, I'm just so popular. Just kidding. It's all just family. All right, back to the video. I get distracted so easily. Sorry. Okay, so what are we doing? We're deploying to testnet. All right, so now we're going to deploy to testnet. So in order to do that, we first have to create an account to deploy our smart contract to, okay? The reason we didn't have to do this for emulator was because when we run the local emulator on our computer, it automatically generated something called if you actually go to the flow.json file, it automatically generated a emulator account for us. All right, so the CLI does that for you. But with testnet, you have to make your own account so we can deploy the contract to it, and then we can interact with that contract that we're deploying it to, right? And remember, on Flow, contracts get deployed to accounts. So we have to make the account first and then deploy the contract. So let's do that. So ready to deploy to testnet? Yes, I am. Jacob, I am ready. Generate a deployer address by typing flow keys generate network equals testnet. Let's go to a terminal. Let's clear everything so it's more clear. Paste, click enter, and it gives us a private key and a public key. Now, because we have a private key and a public key, we can take that information and create an account now, okay? So let's go ahead and create an account. How do we do that? Well, let's go here. Create your deployer account by going to testnet faucet. Let's go here, pasting in your public key and clicking create an account. So we have to paste in our public key. Let's copy this, paste in our public key. Boom. Don't change anything. Click I am human. And I have to click each image, a conference room. What is it? What is that even? What's a conference room? This, and this. All right, nice. Create account. So now it's creating an account for us on testnet. Remember, this is all on testnet still. It's still like a testing environment, except everyone can use it, right? So it's not like a local thing just on our computer. So we can wait for this to go through. Boom. So here's our new address, and it gave us 1,000 flow tokens. We're rich. They're fake though. They're fake. Okay, so let's go back. What do we have to do now? After it finishes, click copy address and save it somewhere. So we'll just leave it there for now. All right. Add your new testnet account to your flow.json by modifying the following lines of code. Paste your address you copied above to where it says your generated address, and paste your private key to where it says your private key. Okay, so what do we have to do? Well, it wants us to change this stuff. So if we go to our VS Code, let's see. So under the accounts object, there's supposed to be an emulator account. We already have that right here, right? The accounts object and emulator account. We have that. But it wants us to take the testnet account. Let's go ahead and do that. So testnet account. Let's paste that right here. And it says your generated address. So that's the address we just generated. So let's go ahead, copy it, paste it right there. And your private key is the one that we generated in the terminal. So let's get our private key, paste it right there. Done. And what else do we have to do? Oh, so under deployments, so when we deployed our contracts initially, because it was all in our local computer, let me take a step back. The contracts that are being used in this example is basically an example NFT contract. This is the contract that defines the NFTs and allows for minting them, setting up the user collection, everything. The other three here, these are standards or like almost interfaces that we had to use in order to make this contract, the example one, a legitimate NFT contract. So because these are standards, we still had to implement them on a local blockchain. But once we go to testnet, these already live on testnet, these three. So we don't need to deploy them again because they're just standards, right? But we do have to deploy our own custom contract again. So that's what we're going to do right now. So copy the testnet object, put that under emulator, and you can see we're just deploying example NFT. So if I go ahead, what do I have to type next? Here. So flow product deploy network equals testnet. Let's paste that right there and click enter. All right. So example NFT is deploying. Hopefully this works. Yeah, let's just wait for it and see if it works. All contracts deployed successfully. Wow, there's nothing better as a programmer. We can actually check this too. If we copy this address, go to the flow view source. I'll put this in the description for you. Go to the flow view source, click on testnet, paste in the address, click go, and boom, we see the contract on testnet, which is awesome. So there's the contract for you. Yay! All right, so what now? Come on, Jacob, tell us what to do now. You got it. So lastly, configure your .env file to point to flow testnet so we can interact with your new contract. Okay, so in our .env file, which is this one, it wants us to change some things so that we're no longer having our dApp or like our application look at our local blockchain. We want it to look at flow testnet, which is just out there in the world. So let's change some things. So change next public contract address to your generated address. So let's go and get our generated address, okay, and paste that under next public contract address. Boom, done. Step number 2, change next public standard address to this one right here. Okay, so change that. And again, that's because this is already a set in stone static thing. It already exists on testnet, right? All those standard contracts. So we have to point that to there. Next public access node, what do we change that to? To this right here. Change that to look at flow testnet, not our local blockchain. And change our wallet to look at FCL discovery instead of the local flow dev wallet. And then we need to change our private key to your generated private key. So here's our private key, and we're going to paste that right here. And that's going to allow us to mint NFTs when we type npm run mint again. Okay, so let's cancel out all our terminals. We don't even need them anymore because we're not using a local emulator. We're not using a local dev wallet, so we don't need that either. Let's cancel that out. But what we do still need is our Next.js web server. So let's run npm run dev again. Remember to stop it and restart it so that it changes the new .env stuff. Okay, let's go back, refresh the page, log out. Let's just refresh the page again just to make sure everything's okay. And if we click on connect, it should bring up the Block2 and Livyco now, right? So this is on testnet, so we're not using a local dev wallet anymore. So if I click on Block2, I'm going to log into my test account here. Awesome. And if I click get NFTs, I get an error. Uh-oh, nothing good. This isn't good. But if I go to reload the page, click setup collection. If I click setup collection, hopefully it should bring up this stuff. So if I click approve, let's wait for it. This is going to run a little approval to set up our collection. And hopefully if we wait a second here, we can click NFTs again and it'll be fine. So let's go back. I think I skipped a bunch of steps. Oh, no, we're good. Okay, so let's keep going with this. So hopefully, if I click get NFTs again now, okay, no error. So it's just blank, right? Nice. Okay, no NFTs. But if we go back and run npm run mint again, so let's run, let's clear everything. npm run mint, but let's mint to our address. So we're going to mint to this address up here. Paste that in. Oh, oops. Why is there like a weird... Okay, enter. It's going to run a minting transaction. And the cool thing is that, like I said here, in your terminal, you should see a printed transaction ID. Let's take the transaction ID. It says if you go to testnet flow scan and paste in that ID, we should see it. So let's paste in the ID on testnet flow scan, click explore, and it says success, right? That transaction succeeded. You can see all the events that were emitted. Right, this is the hash or the transaction ID. This is the script we used, right, to mint the NFTs. These were the arguments we used. So if we go back to our application, where is it? click Get NFTs again, we should see all the NFTs right there in our application. So that's it for the non-fungible token example. If you have any questions at all, please go ahead and ask in the Emerald Academy chat channel. And hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.